What is your gift? When you figure out what your gift is, you will be able to build wealth. And when I say build wealth, it isn't just make money, it's the ability to take care of yourself, your family, your business, and be able to write a check to your favorite philanthropic effort. That is the power of building wealth and utilizing your gift.
Hey, Trailblazers, welcome to another episode of Event Gems. I am here with my very special guest, Dr. Shanna Scott. Dr. Shanna owns Shanna Scott PR and Events, an award-winning event and sales management firm that produces turnkey events for entrepreneurs, coaches, corporate entities, government, and businesses. She helps her clients make their last year's revenue in just 3 days. And we're going to get into that whole conversation about how she makes that happen. Welcome, Dr. Shanna Scott. Hey, Dr. Shanna.
Hey, Natasha, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is amazing. You're talking about events. And
yes, your jam, your jam.
Yes, absolutely. Our jam.
Yes, our jam. So before we hop into the conversation, we're going to do a quick this or that. So whatever comes to mind, the first thing that comes to mind as I ask you these questions, just go ahead and let the people know which one you prefer. We're going to get a little insight into who Dr. Shanna is and what she likes. All right. Yes. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Would you rather be afraid or embarrassed?
Afraid.
Okay. All right. Smartphone or tablets?
Smartphone.
Glamping or camping?
Glamping.
Yes, me too. Cooking or being cooked for?
Cooked for, final answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the last one is attend a party or host a party?
Host.
Ooh, yes, because then you can create the whole experience.
Exactly. I'm not a good guest. I'm used to planning. Right. I'm not a good guest at all. So
you're probably looking around like, oh, this could be done differently. Are they about to do this? Are they going to do that?
Can I help? Can I help? I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. So let everyone know who you are and what your business is and how the iteration of Shanna Scott PR and Events came to be.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, first and foremost, gosh, I'm like 25 plus years in on events. And when I started with events, I started as a party planner. So I started with baby showers and, festivals. And then I went on to weddings, baby shower, bridal showers. And literally how I, tripped into this space, which I call now my purpose, and I'll share why in a little bit, is basically, in church. I started planning the church programs, and then someone at church asked me to plan their baby shower, and I knocked it out the park. So that's how I got started.
Love it. Yeah, I feel like churches is one of those breeding grounds for a lot of creative things. A lot of singers came out of church, or actors, like they probably got their start from church.
The church program.
Yeah, exactly. Allowing you to really incorporate your creative outlet, in some capacity. So I love, how you were able to transition from helping and supporting people in the church and then to now starting your own business. So how did you even feel like you had a business, right? Because it's one thing to just help and support in the church, but then it's a whole other thing for you to now transition and say, okay, I'm going to start charging for this.
Absolutely. And again, it was a true epiphany. And my business right now is built on Deuteronomy 8:18. God gives us the power to build wealth. And the seed was sown right there in church, on the third or fourth pew there. I decided that I was going to volunteer to do the programs. And, a church member identified that I had a knack for events, and they say, hey, can you plan my baby shower? And I did. And then someone else say, hey, can you plan my baby shower? I didn't charge a thing. I'm like, sure, and I got in there and I when I say I knocked it out the park, I knocked it out the park. I went above and beyond. And once I
Yes.
did that, I was like, you know what? People pay me for this. And
You're like, I'm that good. That's awesome. Yeah, you have to, really think about what is the value that you bring to the table. And at a certain point, you have to be like, all right, well, I'm past the novice stage. Now it's time for me to transition and actually get paid for what it is that I do and what it is that I love. In the intro, we talked about how you were able to help your clients make their last year's revenue in just 3 days. Talk about that event, $1.2 million in 3 days. Can you unpack that for other business owners listening? How can they think about even making their last year's revenue in just 3 days through the power of events?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question, because a lot of times when I say that, people are like, what? What's going on? What are you about to do? Knock over a bank? No.
Right.
What's the scam?
Right.
But there is no scam. As I stated before, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the power to build wealth. And we all are very, very powerful beings. We have intellectual property. We have a gift, and I call it GGG, God given gift, that God has given to us to be able to make wealth. Mine is events. And you know what yours is, you know what you could do better than anyone else, and you knock out the park or do really, really well. And events are mine. So, with that being said, when you hone in and you know without a shadow of doubt what your purpose, what your contribution to this world is, you can package that premiumly and get paid to get other people results.
I love that. That's a gem right there. How do you package your intellectual property so that you can get paid at a premium?
Exactly.
Yeah, I
And
love it.
and when you can, and when you, and keep in mind, really honestly, I'm about to shake it all up right now. This is what we
Go
do
ahead.
this is what we do every day when we go to work. I
Mhm.
realized I was working as an events manager at a venue, and people would come into this venue, it was a hotel, and I would sell to them these weddings, these events, these family reunions. I'd sell it and sell it. And they were giving me, yes, a salary, a really, really low salary, and 1% commission. I realized at that point that I am selling. I have a gift.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, it was back to back. I remember people at work being so mad at me because it was like we had one event, now it's time to turn over, and I was saying, let's turn it over, and
Let's
it's like
go.
it's too much. And I realized that I had a power. I could sell and I could do events. So when you realize what your power is, and it could be cooking. Mine is not cooking. Don't ask me to cook a thing, okay?
Well, you just told us about, you're like, do you want to cook or have someone cook for you? You're like, no,
Okay.
cook for me.
Like, I was trying to impress my family during the holidays, and they was like, okay, Shauna, what are you cooking? I'm like, I'm making barbecue rice. And they always like, oh no. I was like,
Okay. You know what? Just help us set the table now.
I can set the, oh girl, was it pretty? Yes, it was. I was like, or don't ask me to cook it. I will barbecue some rice and then we'll put it in the trash. Those like,
I feel you on that. I'm the same. I'm trying to get better, but yeah, I'm the same.
just leave it to the people. You have some people that can sing. Don't ask me to
Mhm.
sing. You got some people that can dance. You have some people that could fix cars, that could build. What is your gift? When you figure out what your gift is, you will be able to build wealth. And when I say build wealth, it isn't just make money, it's the ability to take care of yourself, your family, your business, and be able to write a check to your favorite philanthropic effort. That is the power of building wealth and utilizing your gift, because now I can sit here and say, okay, Natasha, I would like to be a sponsor for your podcast. Let me write you a $10,000, $20,000,
I
$25,000.
welcome it. Yes. Anyone out here who would like to sponsor my podcast,
But that being
And would
said,
like to write me a check for this season 3. Please hit me up. You can find me at the Diamond Butterfly.
exactly,
Thank you for putting that out of the atmosphere, Dr. Shauna. But yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. You're absolutely right. And it's like it comes from the power of you using your gifts and really honing in and feeling that you have something to offer to the world, right? I think a lot of times, especially, coming from that corporate setting, we have these skills and we have these things that we're really good at, but to transfer to our own business or for us to make money, sometimes there's this gap or this chasm that people feel like it's so difficult for them to cross. And it's like the same thing that you were doing over here, you could do over here and make money for yourself.
For
And
yourself.
exactly like you just said, and create wealth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because there was a time, Natasha, where I couldn't, I mean, again, I will preface this. I went to college, I graduated, I got a job. That's what
Did
I,
all the things, all the things. Uh-huh.
all the things right, okay, for the
Mm-hmm.
most part. So, with that being said, I had these babies, and there were portions in life where I could not afford to get them what they needed. There were times when I would come home and there's a sticky note in my door saying rule to vacate or show cause. I was
Mm-hmm.
getting evicted. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I would snatch it off the door and look at it and say, I am working full time. Why cannot I afford to pay my rent, to pay my car, to pay the bills, to get my daughters their clothes? Why can't I do all the things? It was like money was just, it wasn't enough. That salary, that ceiling that I was, it wasn't enough. And so with when you use your gift, your GGG, your God-given gift, you have the ability to be able to do that. And you're not worried about, Lord Jesus, let me make a arrangement.
Yeah.
So
You're in control. That's essentially what I hear you saying. It's like you're now in control of your future. Like once you really tap into that. And I love that.
you
Your
have that
GGG.
freedom. Yes, you have that
GGG.
freedom. Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Your
have that
GGG
freedom.
allows you to tap into that next level of yourself and to be able to provide for yourself, and not be a victim to your circumstances anymore. Listen, y'all, that's a
Yeah,
gem right there. Use your GGG, your God given gifts
yeah.
to create wealth for yourself. So let's talk about that a little bit more. I know one of the things that you always talk about, and I feel like your GGG is really creating, beyond like you being an event planner and supporting business owners with that, it's creating an experience, right? So can you talk about how important curating that experience is in order for us to make sales at an
Mhm.
event? How important is
Oh, it's extremely powerful. Events are powerful. Events, period, powerful. Events
boom?
are powerful. And
Mhm.
when we, Natasha, as events professional, when we can take four walls, a space in time, carve out a space in time in this whole lifetime, beautify it, make sure people are happy, entertained, they have good food, they're hearing good music, they're networking with good people. That is an amazing environment for people to get transformed. And I tell people all the time, it's very, very easy. Very, very easy. For me, for events, because of course, fish and water. This is what I
Right,
do.
exactly. Uh-huh.
Don't ask me to cook, okay? You
For
should
somebody else, they might be like, yeah, no, not so much.
Girl, my daughter's laughing at me
I'm
like,
just gonna pass it over to you.
I know that my daughter's laughing at me because I'm like, hey, Google, how long does it take for me to boil an egg?
My previous guest, we were talking about strategic plans and coming up with systems, and I'm like, and she was just so giddy about the whole thing, and I'm like, systems is not my jam, but that's why you rely on other people who are the professionals, right, to help support you with that.
Absolutely. And that's
Hmm.
the flow of money. That's the
Yeah.
flow of money. And I forgot where we were going before I started talking about the egg.
Yeah,
But
no, you're talking about how creating that the experience is your jam. So it's
yes,
like having good music, making sure there's good light and making sure that, there's things that are within the space that is maybe entertaining. Yeah.
absolutely. That is in excellence and in decent and in order. Because if you
Hmm.
have chaos, if people are looking for reg, they don't know where their name tags are, they don't know where this is, that's discourse. Okay.
Hmm.
And people are like, they get I hate to say bent out of shape, but the energy is not as smooth when you have a lot of discourse. It's like, okay, they're waiting to start. What's going on? But
Ooh,
when we as professionals and we're handling those details, the flow becomes easier. The money flows, the energy flows, the laughter flows, and the sales happen. That is so important. I promise you, if you have a guest or attendee that's at your event and they are disgruntled, they are not going to buy. And the same thing whenever you go in the store. If someone's, all disorganized and you're like, okay, well, I want to buy a t-shirt, and they're like, well, I don't have any, or they're mean to you, or you're not going to buy.
yes.
The better the experience, the better it is for them to convert at your event. And that's what we do. And that's why we have an amazing, amazing team that we put together, that's smiling, that's happy, that's high vibe, and that are working on the details.
Yeah, I love that. And I would even venture to say that the experience starts even before the event, right? Like
Oh,
number one, I definitely want to go through like each different touch points of the experience. Can you talk about what is the experience? Let's go through each one of the stages then, I guess, leading up to the event and after. So what is the experience before the event that we want to make sure, business owners want to make sure that their attendees have, well, not even attendees, prospective attendees have before they even buy the ticket, and then what does that look like after?
absolutely. So you want to, when you are planning your event, you want to identify who would be the perfect attendee. So that is what we call eligible buyer, or persona, or ideal client, okay, or ideal attendee. So once you identify exactly who that is, then you start to curate messaging that you post on social media to start to attract them, okay? So once you start attracting them via your messaging on social media, then they get to say the first yes. The first yes is, I will attend your event. I will register. That is the first yes.
I love it, but yeah, so the first yes is even just saying, all right, I want to attend this event. So you're pivoting your content on social media for this particular ideal client as opposed to
Absolutely.
what you might be posting regularly now and let
Absolutely.
people know. Okay.
Absolutely. And just as a frame of reference for those who are not familiar with the type of events that I do, the types of events I do are called conversion events, or client acquisition events, or enrollment events. So
Mhm.
whenever we curate our events, our clients are looking to fill their programs, products, and services. They're looking to gain customers. These events, our clients enroll, well, say yes or register for the event to find out more information. And once they get to the event, then we make an offer for the full transformation. So that's why that reg is that first yes. And
Mhm.
whenever they register and they give you that first yes, they say, okay, well, let me check her. Let me check out Natasha. Let me check out you. Let me see exactly what's going on. And that
Mhm.
is when we curate that experience, the opportunity for that respective potential client to experience you, to experience your community, and to consume your content. Because we, as the event professional, we are going to work with you to ascend and elevate your brand. That is one of the reasons why you are more than likely on a stage. You are 2 feet, maybe 3 feet off of the ground, four tops off of the ground, because it is a level of ascension. You are now on a stage, you're elevated from everyone else. Everyone is kind of like a little bit lower, maybe a couple of feet or so lower. And all eyes are on you. You are the content giver, you are the influencer. So at that point, that's when we, make sure that the transformation happens. Make
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're the star of the show. And I think that, this almost feel like it's the equivalent to, a woman getting married or someone getting married, they
absolutely,
become, that star of the show. And so
absolutely.
really I love the visual that you gave of and elevating. But it's also you bring in your attendees into your world? Like, how do you really create that experience to make them experience who you are, experience what you have to offer, and experience what the transformation is that is possible for them?
Yes,
Yeah,
experience you and your brand,
love
because
it.
they got the first yes. The second yes is, do I want to work with you as a brand? Do you have the ability to bring me to transformation? And that is what the whole entire content guide. So your client, your respective client, will know without a shadow of a doubt that you are the person to work with, without a shadow. There's no questions.
I love it. I love it. We have that first initial part of the experience funnel, I guess I'll call it, right? So before they even attend the event, what you're going to be doing on social media. Now you're in the room, you're going to create that experience for them. And I love how you talk about, what is that flow? Because it's really like, what is that energetic flow that's going throughout the room so that there's no friction? The people know where to find the registration table. They know that it's going to start on time. If something happens, God forbid, it's going to be communicated so that people are not disgruntled and they're still in a good space, right? One of the other things too that I wanted to kind of bring up, because we have worked together before and I've worked on the Shanna's team, and one of the things that I really liked about what you did is also just including the volunteers in on the process, right? So I think that that was also an experience for them, to the point where I noticed that the volunteers were actually supporting the attendees with enrolling in the coaches programs, right? So it's not only just the attendees that you're kind of bringing them into your world in a deeper way, but it's also the team that supports the event, whether that be volunteer, whether that be sales. So can you talk a little bit more about creating that experience to also enroll people who are just volunteers?
The great thing about having a volunteer is that they are your biggest fans. They're going to be your number one brand ambassadors. They're going to be the one that's singing your praises. They're wearing your t-shirt. They're singing your theme song, and they're hailing you as the celebrity, the influencer, the person on stage. So with that being, and from a business side of it, it's free help. So there,
Correct.
okay. Then from the stakeholder perspective, when you, as an event strategist, we see it as cost savings, because if those brand ambassadors were not, or slash volunteers not there, then that would be a point to where we're going to have to hire staff to do it.
Mhm.
So the volunteers, again, it's a total win for the volunteers or brand ambassadors, because now they get to see behind the scenes. They get this valuable look at what happens at an event that they're going to be hosting soon. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's a win-win. How do you know at what stage in your business to put on an event like this, an enrollment or sales event? Let's say someone is a coach or consultant, they have a program that they're selling, maybe it's a low ticket or a high ticket program. How do they know when to incorporate the this type of event into their overall goal strategy?
Great question. Now, again, the type of event that we spoke of with the $1.2 million, I would definitely say you are ready to have that level of production, because it is truly a production when you have an offer that is already saleable, you've already sold it, you have a name recognition, maybe about, I would say, 10 to 20K followers, and you have the resources and team to do so, because you are going to need a team. Okay, you're going to need an event strategist, you're going to need an event planner, you're going to need a sales team and all of that, and you need to have the resources. But if you are newer, okay, and you don't have, maybe you have one or two people on staff, maybe you have just a certain amount of resources, then there is a strategy that we do employ to get you to that level, to get you to converting to at 25, 50, even six figures, $100,000. And that is utilizing a smaller event. Okay, maybe grabbing a boardroom, getting 10 to 30 people in the room and converting them. And that is an amazing business model because again, you get a boardroom, you put 10 to 30 people in there at a time, do it each quarter, you could easily get $400,000 if you do 100 at each juncture. Or even if you decide that you want to do 25,000 per quarter, you could, that's your six figures. But the thing is ensuring that you have the bona fide best practice on how to do that. See, Natasha and everyone out here, this is a business model. It's not like you just having an event to celebrate. This is how you grow your business.
Yeah, yeah. And in the previous episode, we talked about, just strategy and planning. So it's really being precise about what your overall business goal is, whether that be monetarily or maybe there's a certain amount of people that you want to be in your program, but it's not just popping up and saying, all right, I want to do this thing, right? There's a strategy behind that. And I love that you talked about the fact that it could be a smaller event, but you could still make six figures, right? You
Oh,
can still you
absolutely.
can have 30 people, 40 people in a room and still make six figures. So don't feel like you have to have this huge event with hundreds of people and thousands of people, right? In fact, Dr. Shanna, can you share how many people were in the room for that particular event that you were talking about that generated 1.2 million?
It was less than 100 people.
Less than 100
Less than
people.
100 people. I've also had clients who had what was less than, it was 38, I'm sorry, less than 50 people registered, 38 people in the room, 19 people bought, and it was $300,000.
Wow,
I've had
that's incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I've also had a client that had 30 people registered, 17 were qualified, 12 bought, and it was $120,000. 3 days.
So test out the offer that you have, make sure that it's something that's sellable. And then from there, then you can launch with the event. And there is a huge possibility on the back end. But with the right strategy, with the right
With
strategy.
the right
Right.
strategy.
Exactly.
Because,
Exactly.
and I'm telling you, I've seen so many people that say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have an event. And they post up these events and they end up really losing money.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
these hotels and these venues are not playing with you all at all. When you contract, they are going to want their money, rather you sell out or not. And
Yeah.
having an informed and intelligent event strategist will prevent you from that level of risk and detriment.
Can you talk about what are some of the roadblocks that prevent or that you've seen, whether it be an event that you've worked on or when your clients have come to you to support them with their events? What is something that is preventing them from actually having a profitable event? Because, like you said, events can be expensive and you could lose if you don't have the right plan or strategy in place.
One of the roadblocks, one of the things that will really get you surefire in some hot water with event is not having an intelligent event strategist on your side, not having a team member that has the foresight. That's number one. You must be able to work with someone that knows the in and out of events and have the foresight. The second one, this is huge. This is a writer down. The first one is not having an event strategist. The second one is single sided marketing. I've heard so
Ooh,
many
explain that. Explain that.
single sided marketing.
Hmm.
One, they decide they come up with this super cute meme that they posted up in Canva or any of the design software, and then they put it on social media and then they leave. They go to sleep and they like, oh Lord. And then the heartbreaking part of it is they're like, okay, no one's registered for my event. I put it on social media and then they give up forever.
Oh man. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
promise you, on the back end of it, the people who are filling these events, whether it's 10, whether it's 300, they are working their elbow. They put a lot of
Yeah.
elbow juice in it. You cannot just say, hey, boom, put it out there and
Yeah, I've definitely seen that as well. And I always think to myself, how do you think that people are going to know about it?
Yeah,
There are so many times I've posted something, no one has seen it. They're like, "Oh, I never saw that you post that." You got to keep posting there repeatedly, or find different channels or different avenues or strategic partners to help get the word out.
exactly.
So,
You have to have an event marketing plan. And
mhm.
as your event strategist, we build out those plans for you. We consult with you and let you know exactly what you need to do to get your room filled with the right people. Let me say that because you don't want all your friends and family there. They're going to support you. You want them there, but then you want eligible buyers there as well.
Yeah, people who are actually going to convert. So, speaking of conversion, how do you support your clients with coming up with the revenue goal for their events?
If my clients come to me and they have their business model and their business plan already in place, then they know how much money they need to make for the year. If they do not, then we do provide support to find out what your business goals are. Now, in the event it is a new consultant or a coach, I normally ask the question, okay, all right, so are you looking to, and they're working full time, I'm like, are you looking to leave your job? Okay. And chances are they're saying, yes, I am. So you're looking to leave your job, then let's replace your salary first.
Oh, that's good. That's
So that's what we
good.
do, the salary replacement, because I'm like, because I really do feel that God has built me for this. He has built me for this, for events and being able to sell. Those are two of my gifts. Again, remember, not the cooking. Do not ask
Mhm.
Dr. Shauna to cook. I will
But
find you the best chef there is.
if you want to make money at your event now, listen,
Exactly.
she's the one to call.
I am she. With that being said, I've been there. I've been there working in an office where I'm sad. I love what I do. I'm very good. And in this, like, I'm just sad. And
Yeah.
I remember sitting at that venue, that hotel that I worked for. And I was just I loved the weddings. I loved the family reunions. I loved all the events and I could sell them and I was selling out. And the cleaning lady came and one of the janitors, and she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm just depressed. I don't know." And she
Wow.
said, "It's all in your head." And that caused a shift inside me. I got to go and find her and give her a hug because this is those little defining moments where it caused a shift. And I thought about it. She said, "My daughters are good. My families are good. And the things that aren't good, they're still good.
Yeah.
What is it that I'm not happy about?"
Yeah.
2 days later, I gave them my resignation.
You're like, yeah, I'm out. Yeah. Your soul was calling you for something more or
Something
something,
more.
and you just knew you had to make that shift. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, the people were nice. And my bosses loved me because I was killing
Yeah,
it.
you're bringing that money in. Exactly.
I was
Exactly.
like, what is going on? I mean, and I worked at a very, right on the beach at any point that I would
Yeah.
go in. I was doing great on my job, but it was just like, what is wrong?
Yeah.
And when you have that level of tug on you, when you look around, you're like, I got food. Okay, yeah, I can't pay all the bill, but I can pay half and pay half the next week. Just
Yeah.
not nominal problems because none of us are ever going to be without any problems. So
Yeah.
let me be
Exactly.
realistic.
Exactly.
But it was dealable. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Mm.
Well, happy thing too.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. And it caused the shift. And keep in mind, even, and I don't want to sit before you all at all and let you think for a second that entrepreneurship and making this level of income and revenue is a walk in the park. It is not a walk in the park, but it is very, very, very possible. And I say all the time, your obstacles are not to say get off the track. Because a lot of times we think, oh, this obstacle, maybe this is a sign from God to say sit down and have several seats. No, your obstacles are by design and they are designed to fortify you. They are designed to strengthen you. And I like to think of it as basic training. If you ever were on an obstacle course, you had to go through this,
Mhm.
come through that. That is what your obstacles are. And when you realize that you got somebody in your face and they're aggravating you beyond aggravation, it is a test. It is not for you
Yes,
to slap fire from them. Okay.
exactly. Your
It is,
obstacle is an opportunity for you. Yeah, to
it's an
stretch yourself.
opportunity for
Mhm.
you to learn how to deal with sticky situations.
Yeah, I
And
love it.
once you master that, because you're going to have to be a leader in your business, you can't just slap fire from people. You have to be able to recognize that, oh, this is a test. Okay, you want to see what I'm going to do today? I'm going to handle this with grace because God has given me a gift. And your success is on the other side of that test. I'll stop there.
Success is on the other side of that test.
And
So keep going. Don't get stopped by it. I love that. I
exactly,
love
just like
that.
just like right now, this wig is giving me
It's giving life. It's giving
it's
life
giving me
today.
life. It's testing me because I'm 3 seconds from going.
It's a brand new look. I love
It's
it.
a, I know it's a brand new look, everybody. But let me tell you something. You show up regardless of all the little
Exactly.
things that say in your head, girl, wrong pick. That's what it's saying.
No, no, you keep going.
Keep going. Keep
Listen, no wing's gonna stop you from doing an interview, Dr. Shauna. Listen, I love it. Don't worry about what's on her head. Worry about what's in her head. Okay. So she is a $1 million event strategist. I'm gonna
yes.
provide you with everything that you need, all the gems for you to be able to have a profitable sales and enrollment event. Based on what I just heard you say, how you help your clients set their revenue goals. Number one, typically, and we've spoken about this in a previous episode before, is about how do events work within the overall business goal that you have, right? And then based on that information, you'll know what your revenue goals might be. Or for someone who's new and starting out, they're probably still working their 9 to 5. You're going to think about, all right, well, how can I get this quit my job money? Because that's what it sounds like to me. That quit my job money, that leap fund. So how do you get that leap fund together, right? But also just making sure that you have a good offer, right? A good offer that will allow people to convert. So
Exactly. And if you don't know what you need to offer, then talk to someone like myself, talk to someone like Natasha. We can help you hash out what is your, you know what your GGG is.
mhm,
You already know, but how do you package that to where how to package it premiumly and make room for you, make it help you build wealth, make it to whereas you are happy in this life, that you can
yeah,
show up regardless of anything and talk confidently about your subject. And I know people are saying, what, I'm shy about talking in front of people. I am. I'm very shy.
me too. Me too.
But
I am actually an introvert, believe it or not.
exactly. We're
So
extroverted introverts. But
I'm an extroverted introvert. Exactly.
talk about events, I can talk about events in my PJs
Yes.
for hours and
Yeah.
get lost. That is when you know that you have a gift.
And that's when you know what your GGG is.
And people are not going to care that you have your PJ on. They're going to know without a shadow of a doubt that you can support them.
Before you go, Dr. Sean, I want to ask you, what is one last gem that you want to leave us with? Maybe it's something that we haven't discussed, or maybe it's an action oriented tip that you want people to leave with today.
Absolutely. My tip to you is do it. 2 words, do it. And when I say it, I mean live your dream. Don't be afraid, because here's the thing: what I want you to do is at the end of your life, and we're all going to have an end of life, I want you to be laying on your bed looking at your great, great, great grandchildren, and you can say, I did it. And there are no regrets. No, I wish I would have started that business. I wish I would have had that event. I wish I would have lived my dream. I want you to be able to say, I did it. I did it. So now in the present term, do it.
Do it. I mean, that is amazing action oriented advice right there. So just go out and do it. So Dr. Shanna, where can everyone find you online or learn about any courses or programs that you have to offer?
Absolutely. You can go to www.shannascott, and Shanna is spelled SHANNASCOTT.com. And there will pop up an opt in. If you go there and opt in to getting some amazing information, then that is how you can contact me. Or my phone number is there. It's my direct line. Give me a shout and say, Dr. Shanna, I want to do it. Or you can text me, do it. I got you. I got you covered.
You're ready to do it, make that $1 million event, make that last year's revenue in just 3 days, or that leap fund. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us. It was an awesome conversation and an honor having you on, Dr. Shanna. I really appreciate it. So if you guys are enjoying this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the Event Gems podcast. Until next time, I'll see you soon.